I've had a lot of experiences with people who drink at my shows, but as far as bad experience,
Let's call Wayne Newton a cunning man because he took advantage of his fame and musical talent to deceive people. First, it was shocking to learn that he had notorious connections with the Mafia and was on the hit list of a notorious criminal. Next, during a sensitive time, he also revealed his concerns that he was not a good businessman, and the loss of all his assets was proof of that. In addition, his life is also surrounded by other scandalous lawsuits and disputes. All the dark sides of Wayne Newton's life are in this video. Don't skip any second, because you might miss one of his most shocking truths. Let's start with Wayne Newton's most anticipated admission about his secret ties to the Mafia. In fact, he became a target for the Mafia in the early 1980s due to his association with a reported mobster. The trouble for Newton began when the famous Aladdin Hotel, one of the kitschy and popular establishments on the Las Vegas Strip, encountered financial difficulties. To salvage the situation, the owners decided to sell the hotel, and Newton, along with his business partner Ed Torres, agreed to purchase it for a substantial sum of $85 million. The purchase set off a chain of events that would lead to a highly publicized legal battle. In September 1980, as reported by the Associated Press, Newton attended a gaming licensing hearing, a necessary step for the acquisition of the hotel. It was after this hearing that Newton was confronted by NBC reporter Brian Ross, who posed a series of probing questions about Newton's relationship with a man named Guido Penosi. Initially, Newton explained that he had met Penosi at the Copacabana nightclub in New York City in 1973. Where he had been performing. According to Newton, their interactions were limited to a few conversations over the years, and he had thought of Penosi as nothing more than a fan. However, the implications of this relationship would soon unravel into a complex web of allegations and courtroom confrontations. Penosi, identified as a reputed mobster with connections to organized crime, had a significant influence within certain circles, raising suspicions about his association with Newton. The scrutiny intensified, casting a shadow over Newton's reputation and his business ventures. The media frenzy and legal inquiries focused on whether Newton's dealings with Penosi had any bearing on the legitimacy of the hotel purchase and the operations that followed. The courtroom drama that ensued was a testament to the intricate and often perilous intersection between the entertainment industry and organized crime in Las Vegas during that era. Newton's relationship with Penosi was dissected, with every detail examined for potential criminal links. The legal proceedings aimed to determine whether Newton's connections to Penosi had facilitated any improper or illegal activities related to the acquisition and management of the Aladdin Hotel. Despite the mounting pressure and the intense media coverage, Newton maintained his innocence, insisting that his relationship with Penosi was innocuous and purely fan-based. The case dragged on, with both sides presenting arguments and counter-arguments that painted a picture of a glittering entertainment world overshadowed by the specter of mob influence. In fact, the relationship between Wayne Newton and Guido Penosi appeared to be far more intricate than the simple dynamic of performer and fan. According to an NBC report by Brian Ross, which aired on October 6, 1980, just before Newton announced his intention to buy the Aladdin Hotel, Newton had reached out to Penosi for assistance with a problem. Penosi, in turn, allegedly involved Frank Piccolo, a known associate of New York's infamous Gambino crime family. The involvement of Piccolo, a significant figure in organized crime, complicated matters considerably. According to federal investigators, Piccolo began claiming that he had resolved Newton's problem and had become a silent partner in the Aladdin Hotel deal. This assertion raised alarms and attracted intense scrutiny from both the media and law enforcement. At the gaming licensing hearing, Newton was questioned extensively about his associations and the nature of his business dealings. He firmly denied having any silent partners in the Aladdin deal, describing Penosi merely as a fan and a family friend. Under oath, Newton stated that he was unaware of Penosi's connections to the Gambino family, aiming to distance himself from any implications of criminal involvement. The tension escalated when Brian Ross attempted to question Newton in a parking lot following the hearing. Newton rebuffed Ross's inquiries, which Ross reported as aggressive and possibly leading to a grand jury subpoena for Newton to testify against Penosi in a federal investigation. Newton later recounted the encounter with Ross as accosted, accusing the reporter of using near-badgering tactics. He described feeling bewildered and angry, likening the interaction to Gestapo tactics. Newton's frustration was further compounded by the nature of the problem he had sought Penosi's help with: death threats against his young daughter. Newton eventually admitted that he had approached Penosi because of these threats, which had ceased after Penosi's intervention. This revelation added a layer of complexity and personal stakes to the entire ordeal, showcasing the lengths to which Newton was willing to go to protect his family. The courtroom drama that unfolded was a testament to the perilous intersection of the entertainment industry and organized crime in Las Vegas during that era. The legal proceedings sought to uncover whether Newton's dealings with Penosi and Piccolo had facilitated any improper or illegal activities related to the Aladdin Hotel acquisition and management. Newton's steadfast defense and consistent narrative of innocence were central to the trial, with every detail of his interactions with Penosi and Piccolo meticulously examined. In April 1981, Wayne Newton took a bold step to protect his reputation and career by filing a defamation suit against NBC, investigative reporter Brian Ross, and producer Ira Silverman. This legal battle stemmed from an NBC News report suggesting Newton's connections to organized crime figures, which had severe repercussions for the renowned entertainer. During the trial, Newton provided compelling testimony about the profound impact the report had on his life. He recounted a chilling moment when, after seeing the broadcast, he turned to his wife and uttered, "I'm a dead man." His fears were soon validated when the Las Vegas police informed him that a contract had indeed been taken out on his life. This revelation forced Newton into a state of high alert and self-preservation. To ensure his safety, Newton adopted stringent security measures. He began wearing a bulletproof vest, which became a part of his daily attire. Additionally, he relocated from his home to the Aladdin Hotel, seeking refuge in its relative security. Newton confined his movements to the hotel premises, only venturing out to perform his nightly shows. Reflecting on this harrowing period, he remarked, "When you're told you're on a hit list for the Mafia, it doesn't exactly make your day." Despite these drastic measures, Newton's fear and anxiety were palpable, casting a shadow over his once glamorous and carefree lifestyle. The trial became a stage where Newton sought not only to clear his name, but also to highlight the personal toll the accusations had taken on him. On the opposing side, NBC, Ross, and Silverman maintained their stance. They argued that their report did not explicitly accuse Newton of being involved in organized crime. Instead, they claimed their investigation had merely exposed Newton's associations with figures like Guido Penosi. They stood by their assertion that Newton had misrepresented the nature of his relationship with Penosi, who had connections to the Gambino crime family. The trial, which lasted 8 weeks, was a high-profile legal spectacle. On December 18, 1986, the jury delivered a verdict that favored Newton, concluding that he had indeed been defamed by NBC. The jury awarded him a substantial $19.2 million in damages, a decision that was reported by the New York Times. This verdict was seen as a significant victory for Newton, who had endured years of public scrutiny and personal anxiety. However, the legal battle did not end there. A federal judge later reviewed the case and reduced the amount awarded to Newton to $5.2 million. This adjustment, though still a considerable sum, reflected a more measured assessment of the damages Newton had suffered. NBC, undeterred, decided to appeal the decision. The appellate process culminated on August 31st, 1990, when a federal appeals court overturned the 1986 jury verdict. The court's opinion emphasized that there was almost no evidence of actual malice, much less clear and convincing proof, on the part of NBC and its employees. This ruling effectively nullified the earlier decision and absolved NBC of the defamation charges. In addition to this notorious, serious incident, Wayne Newton also faced a tumultuous financial journey despite the immense fortune he amassed over his career. Newton admitted that he was never good at managing money, and sadly, he spent most of his fortune. His financial troubles culminated in a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing in 1992, where he declared over $20 million in debt. This marked a significant downturn for an entertainer who had once been at the pinnacle of success, earning hundreds of millions of dollars. Newton's financial mismanagement was a key factor in his downfall. Despite his immense earnings, he struggled with money, leading to a series of poor financial decisions and accumulating debts. According to some reports, Newton managed to retain $50 million in the bank. While this is a substantial amount, it pales in comparison to the vast sums he had earned throughout his career. His bankruptcy filing revealed a staggering $341,000 IRS tax lien, which, although significant, was just a part of his financial woes. The bulk of his debt stemmed from an 8-figure libel lawsuit against NBC. The lawsuit against NBC was a pivotal moment in Newton's financial decline. Newton had sued the network after they reported his alleged connections to the mob, particularly his relationship with Guido Penosi, an alleged member of the Carlo Gambino crime family. Newton adamantly denied any knowledge of Penosi's mob ties, famously telling the Las Vegas Sun in 2000, "It was ridiculous. I'm an Indian boy from Virginia. What do I know about the Mafia?" Despite winning the lawsuit, Newton couldn't prove that NBC's reporting was malicious, and as a result, he was not awarded any damages. This legal battle not only drained his finances, but also tarnished his public image. Beyond the lawsuit, Newton's financial troubles were exacerbated by a slew of lawsuits for non-payment. According to the Las Vegas Review, he faced legal actions for various unpaid expenses, including a Cadillac and $32,184 worth of hay for his stable of horses. These lawsuits highlighted Newton's extravagant lifestyle and poor financial management. His battle with a Michigan airport over unpaid parking fees for his private jet further underscored his financial missteps. Newton's financial woes did not end with his bankruptcy filing. In August 2005, he found himself back in the crosshairs of the IRS. Forbes reported that the federal government claimed he owed $1.7 million in taxes and fines for the years 1997 to 2000. This new round of tax issues added to the ongoing financial strain and underscored the long-term mismanagement of his finances. The root of Newton's financial problems lay in a combination of lavish spending, poor financial planning, and costly legal battles. His penchant for a high-maintenance lifestyle, complete with private jets and a stable of horses, required significant financial upkeep. Without careful management, these expenses quickly spiraled out of control, leading to mounting debts and legal troubles. In addition, Wayne Newton also struggled significantly with business ventures. His lack of business acumen was evident in his 1997 venture with fellow performer Tony Orlando, where they opened the Talk of the TOWN. This 2,100-capacity venue aimed to be a premier entertainment spot, but quickly became a financial disaster. Drawing only between 360 to 900 people per show, the venue was unable to generate sufficient revenue to cover its substantial $2 million lease. This financial strain ultimately led to a bitter and irreparable rift between Newton and Orlando. Reflecting on the situation in a 1999 interview with Larry King, Newton remarked, "I decided that I have never given up a friendship over money, but he did," highlighting the personal toll of their business failure. Despite his business missteps, Newton excelled at spending extravagantly. He lived on a sprawling 39-acre estate known as Casa de Shenandoah, modeled after the Tara plantation from Gone with the Wind. This opulent estate embodied Newton's penchant for luxury and excess. The primary residence alone was 11,000 square feet and cost $4 million to build, which equates to over $15 million in today's dollars when adjusted for inflation. Casa de Shenandoah wasn't just a single mansion. It was a vast compound featuring 7 additional houses, employing 70 staff members to maintain the lavish property. The estate was a microcosm of Newton's extravagant lifestyle. It included a hospital and swimming pool dedicated to his 100-plus horses, demonstrating his passion for equine care. His love for animals extended to a private zoo, which unfortunately resulted in costly lawsuits when guests were bitten by exotic animals. Additionally, the estate boasted a car museum housing dozens of luxury vehicles, a jumbo jet terminal, a heliport, and tennis courts, further illustrating the grandiosity of Newton's living arrangements. Newton's spending didn't stop at real estate and amenities. His collection of luxury cars was impressive, and he owned both a Learjet and a Fokker F-28, underscoring his penchant for high-end transportation. These extravagant expenditures contributed significantly to his financial troubles, highlighting a disconnect between his earnings and his spending habits. The tragic story of Wayne Newton's life also contains the toxic relationship between him and Johnny Carson, revealed by Wayne himself. Initially, their relationship seemed amicable, as Newton frequently appeared on Carson's show and considered him a friend. However, the nature of Carson's humor shifted, taking a more negative and personal tone, especially regarding Newton's masculinity. In a 2007 interview with Larry King, Newton reflected on this change, noting, "What happened is I had done his show many, many times and considered him a friend of mine. And all of a sudden, a whole new brand of humor started to be displayed by him. And he was in that humor questioning my masculinity." This shift in Carson's humor did not sit well with Newton. Feeling personally attacked and humiliated, Newton decided to confront Carson directly. According to Newton, he went to Carson's office in Burbank, California, with the intention of addressing the issue face-to-face. Carson's producer, sensing the tension, quickly exited the office, leaving the two men alone. Newton, fueled by anger and frustration, delivered an ultimatum to Carson. "These jokes about me will stop, and they'll stop now or I'll kick your Newton reportedly told Carson. This confrontation marked a significant escalation in their conflict. Despite this direct confrontation, Carson's negative remarks about Newton continued for another decade. The tension between them reached a peak when Newton filed a libel suit against NBC, Carson, and others for insinuating that he was involved with organized crime. Newton won the suit initially, receiving a significant monetary judgment. However, the judgment was later overturned on appeal. Regardless of the legal outcome, Newton firmly believed that Carson's influence was at the root of the damaging allegations and his ensuing troubles. All of that emanated from Johnny Carson's influence, Newton asserted. Throughout this period, Newton's professional life was also fraught with financial challenges and personal setbacks. Known for his extravagant lifestyle and significant spending, Newton found himself in dire financial straits multiple times. Despite these challenges, he maintained his status as a beloved entertainer in Las Vegas. His resilience and ability to navigate both his career and personal battles earned him a loyal fan base and substantial wealth. As of recent estimates, Newton's net worth stands at approximately $50 million, a testament to his enduring success despite the numerous hurdles he faced. It is said that Wayne Newton's life was unremarkable, except for litigation and disputes. Indeed, on May 23, 2012, Wayne Newton found himself embroiled in a legal dispute with developer Stephen Kennedy, head of CSD Management. The lawsuit centered around Kennedy's ambitious plan to transform Newton's sprawling 40-acre estate, Casa de Shenandoah, into a tourist attraction akin to Elvis Presley's Graceland. Kennedy claimed that Newton was obstructing these efforts and making it impossible for the project to proceed. Kennedy's company, CSD Management, had already invested a substantial $50 million into the project. The grand vision included a dinner theater, a car wash, and various other attractions that were expected to draw tourists eager to experience a piece of Las Vegas history. The plan was to turn Casa de Shenandoah, with its opulent 11,000-square-foot main residence and several other houses, into a museum dedicated to Newton's illustrious career. This transformation was intended to cement Newton's legacy in a way that would attract fans and tourists from around the world. According to Kennedy, the trouble began after CSD bought the property from Newton in 2001 for $19.5 million. The agreement stipulated that Newton and his family would vacate the mansion to facilitate its conversion into a museum. However, more than a decade later, Newton and his family were still residing on the estate, which Kennedy claimed was a deliberate effort to sabotage the project. Kennedy's lawsuit alleged that Newton had no intention of cooperating with the venture from the outset. It accused Newton of employing various tactics to frustrate CSD's efforts, including staying put on the property and thereby preventing any significant progress. The suit painted a picture of Newton as an obstructionist who was undermining a project that had the potential to become a significant tourist attraction. The allegations did not stop at Newton's refusal to vacate the property. Kennedy also claimed that Newton had been sexually aggressive toward the firm's workers and had been negligent in controlling his dogs, which had reportedly bitten people on the estate. These accusations added a layer of personal misconduct to the legal dispute, further complicating the situation. Kennedy's frustration was palpable as he detailed the numerous ways in which Newton's actions had derailed the project. He emphasized that the lawsuit was not just about financial loss, but also about the breach of an agreement that had significant implications for the Las Vegas tourism industry. The transformation of Casa de Shenandoah was seen as a potential boon for the local economy, creating jobs and attracting visitors. Newton's alleged obstructionism was, therefore, not just a personal affront, but a hindrance to a broader economic opportunity. Newton, for his part, had remained on the property despite having received the payment from CSD. His refusal to leave and the ensuing legal battle highlighted the complexities of turning a personal residence, especially one as unique and storied as Casa de Shenandoah, into a commercial enterprise. The estate, with its opulent amenities including a car museum, a jumbo jet terminal, heliport, tennis courts, and even a zoo, was more than just a home. Central to the allegations was Newton's refusal to hand over a trove of keepsakes and collectibles, including Jack Benny's violin, which was intended for exhibit. This refusal was seen as a significant impediment to the project's progress and a breach of the agreement between the parties. Moreover, Kennedy's complaint highlighted Newton's failure to reduce the property's herd of horses from 55 to a more manageable 20. The estate was home to a variety of exotic animals, and the lawsuit painted a picture of mismanagement and animal mistreatment. The herd included prized Arabian horses, and the maintenance of such a large number was financially and logistically challenging. The charges against Newton extended beyond issues of property and collectibles. Kennedy accused him of obnoxious behavior and allowing his dogs to terrorize CSD workers. The lawsuit described harrowing scenes of grown men scrambling onto the roofs of cars and scaling tall trees to escape Newton's unrestrained dogs, which were characterized as exceptionally vicious and prone to biting. CSD workers reportedly suffered numerous bites, leading to physical and emotional scars. One particularly troubling allegation involved Newton's conduct towards a young female employee of CSD. The lawsuit detailed incidents of wet, sloppy, and disgusting unwanted kisses from Newton, which the woman's legal counsel described in a letter. This accusation of sexual harassment added a deeply personal and disturbing dimension to the legal battle. In response, Newton's attorney, Stephen Peake, dismissed CSD's claims as nothing more than a preemptive effort on the part of the plaintiffs to intimidate the Newtons for their own benefit. Peake characterized the allegations as salacious and meritless, designed to deflect from the Newtons' forthcoming countersuit. According to Peake, CSD had mismanaged the project, spending exorbitant amounts of money without securing necessary building permits, which led to the fire department shutting down construction on the Visitor Welcome Center. The lawsuit also shed light on Newton's declining fortunes and reputation. Once the highest-paid performer on the Vegas Strip, Newton had faced increasingly harsh criticism and financial difficulties. In 2009, a reviewer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal uncharitably referred to Newton's singing voice as having been trashed, perhaps irreversibly. Financial embarrassments followed, including a February 2010 attempted seizure of Casa de Shenandoah over an unpaid $35 million loan and efforts by Newton's former pilot to collect a court judgment for $500,000 in back pay. Kennedy's lawsuit contended that before CSD undertook renovations, Casa de Shenandoah was in a sad state of repair. This claim underscored the extent of the investment needed to restore the estate to its former glory and transform it into a viable tourist attraction. The legal battle between Newton and Kennedy thus highlighted not only the challenges of converting a personal residence into a commercial enterprise, but also the complexities of preserving and capitalizing on a celebrity's legacy. What do you think about Wayne Newton's scandalous life based on his admission? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.